The election coming up. John, what do you think? Prop D, is that the hottest thing on the ballot for San Diegans, or do you just kind of roll the bin and pull out a number and everything's hot?
No, there's a couple, just only a few top local hot ones. That clearly is right up there. Don't forget we have 2 county supervisor races, which I put up there. But things such as sheriff's race were decided in the primary. So Prop D is absolutely the race.
Okay, so you're going to be a moderator for this event. How do you see this shaking out? I mean, there's a very real budget problem in San Diego, but will voters, do you think, vote to give more money to the politicians in order to solve the problem?
It's a great political campaign issue because there's great arguments on both sides, and the polling and everything else shows it neck and neck. So this is going to go right down the wire. And as you said, I'm moderating a debate the Friday right before Election Day. So that's going to be the tough part. I think the biggest aspect of this that bodes well for the no side is they didn't, these triggers that they have to help reduce all the financial problems, they're not hard triggers. They're just, they didn't put it, for example, the money could go to the general fund, where if they would have made it dedicated to police and fire, I got to tell you, people would have supported it. So that's where people get confused.
Great point, because we'll have the police chief in here on Monday, and we'll be talking to him. He supports Prop D, but that will be one of the first questions I'll ask him, if he realizes that there's no guarantee that that sales tax revenue will go to his department.
Well, and that's why his support, and he is supporting the yes side, is so important, because you got Mayor Sanders on the yes side. People say, well, he's the politician. You got Carl DeMaio. The police chief has a lot of credibility. I know this chief very well. He's a real straight shooter, no pun intended. So his endorsement of this really is a big push on the yes side.
Okay. Let's talk about Prop 19, legalizing marijuana in the state. This has got so many sub-issues to it that I don't think people have really delved into in any great depth.
I see this as one of the biggest public policy issues that we've seen in decades. I do make it akin to in the 20th century prohibition as far as how it could affect society, and I don't think people are taking all the parameters in to realize the long-term ramifications. The
unintended consequences of this. But some of the strange bedfellows that you and I were talking about, I have heard that the medical marijuana folks that have opened up these medical marijuana dispensaries are not necessarily in favor of legalizing pot, because that would put them out of business, essentially.
I read one headline that said they are scared to death, so that's absolutely right. So that's one strange bedfellow that you think would be on one side but on the other. The interesting thing about this issue is it's not taking a partisan slant. You have 3 of the top races in California, the governor's race, the U.S. Senate race, and the Attorney General races. Candidates from both parties are all opposed to this.
They are all opposed
to it. The 2 attorney general candidates, the 2 senate and 2 governor candidates.
And then the huge question about, there's the federal law. How would this line up against federal law? Nobody really knows. It would end up in court, even if voters voted to legalize it, would it not?
As you said, there's little sub-things, not only whether or not it's legal, but would this prevent a lot of agencies, public and private, who apply for federal grant funds, would that cut off automatically? That's one of the arguments on the other side. The most interesting aspect that I heard is, and this really puts in perspective, if this law was in effect, a bus driver could not smoke a joint on school bus grounds, but he could have one in his pocket. That's very interesting.
Okay, so there's a lot of things that people will really have to study both sides of this before they make up their minds. On more of a national stage, President Obama is coming in again for what, a 3rd time to campaign for Barbara Boxer. Does that help or hurt, considering the political climate out there right now?
Well, it absolutely helps on the fundraising, and that's why they jump without doubt.
It's all about the money.
Well, and you are correct that he's coming in for the 3rd time for Barbara Boxer, but on this 3rd time, he also, for the first time, is going to be fundraising at an event for Jerry Brown. And so that's a big one. And, of course, we all know some blow-ups about Jerry Brown and Bill Clinton, some of his supporters, et cetera. So this really does signify that the Democratic Party, this election is going to have ramifications for the next 12 years.
And so let's back it all the way out now to a national stage. Republicans expecting to maybe gain back control of the House. There's some question that on the outside they might be able to regain control of the Senate. Do you see that happening?
I do. I think right now, and I've made a statement on this location several months ago that would never happen. Now I'm saying that probably will happen in both houses.
Is that because the tide is really swelling as we get closer to the election? I know the Democratic administration would like to try to somehow quell that tide. But it seems to be building, does it not?
That tsunami is going, and the Democrats see the water going over the head. Everybody knows about the House and Senate, how important that is. Here's the real interesting part. The state houses. 8 governorships that Obama of the states that he won in his previous election might go Republican. Why is that important? 2 years from now, redistricting. And then when he's up for re-election, it might not be as favorable to him as it was before.
All right, political analyst John Dadian. When is that debate that folks can maybe come and take part in that?
The 29th, University Club, 7:30 a.m.
7:30 in the morning, breakfast debate at the University Club.
Mayor Sanders and Carl DeMaio.
Very good. On Prop D.
Correct.
Thanks, John. Always good to see you.